Hi, this is Arvin, or I guess you can say your name.
This is Arvin.
And I'm Megan, and this is Arvin and Megan Create. Welcome to our channel. We wanted to come out in the garden this morning really early before the sun came up, so then it was nice for filming. And we wanted to talk about tomatoes and pruning, all the basics, watering, different types of tomatoes. So we have 3 different types in the garden that we want to talk about.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you're talking into the mic, hun.
And I think you also wanted to talk about companion plants, possibly, if we're...
Oh yeah,
if we
companion
need.
plants, yeah. So we have a few things. We have like a little list to touch on. We're going to go over that this morning. I guess let's get started. Okay, so we've got the different types of tomatoes here in our containers over here and over there, right over there. So those ones are the tomatillos, and we've got them all caged up in their little home. And then we've got these ones over here, which are Determinate type. These ones are called subarctic plenty, and they should be ready to harvest in the next little while. We've got also these ones along the back here. These ones are an indeterminate type. They're the Roma tomatoes. And we've also got a bunch of Romas in our front yard garden as well. So we'll go out front after, but I'll talk about some basics back here first. We can talk about where to plant the tomatoes. So we've got some planted in 8-gallon pots here in the back, and then we've got some in the ground kind of in the front. And the best thing you can do is to make sure you have a big container, because they love a lot of space and they'll dry out really quickly if you plant them in smaller containers. So like the 8-gallon is pretty good for a typical determinate. We're kind of testing out to see how the indeterminate ones, the Roma tomatoes, are doing in an 8-gallon.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the plan.
Would you say they're heavy feeders, and that's why a bigger pot that can hold more water is kind of like the advantage, right?
Yeah, I'd say they're pretty heavy feeders, and they kind of like, they suck up the nutrients and the water like really quickly. So it's just nice to have a bigger pot so you're not out here watering and adding more nutrients to the soil all the time. Like it's kind of you plant them at the start of the season and you kind of leave them. That gets into, I guess, our next point, water and structure. Watering is just, like I said, consistent. You want to have big pots so you don't have to water as often. Like normally it's every 2 or 3 days. When it's like pretty hot, you probably want to water more often. Sometimes you'll have to water every day if you have them in pots. If they're in the ground, you're not going to have to water as often.
They tend to do better in the ground, especially if you could water in the ground and it like retains that moisture.
Yeah, if you have space in your garden bed and you can do them in the ground, it is the best way to do them. Yeah.
With regards to that, I guess we could have talked about mulching it, which I actually haven't done for these pots.
No, we haven't done it for these pots. We've done it for some of our other pots. I actually have it over here in the ones near the greenhouse, where we've put straw kind of here. Let me show you.
Yeah.
So we've got kind of straw in the top layer of these pots over here, and it helps to retain the moisture. These ones are actually really lucky. These pots have like a little mini irrigation system in them, so they'll kind of self-water. So there's like a little reservoir in the bottom of these ones. So if you can get pots like these, it really, really helps in the summertime. So then you're not having to water them just as often. So is there anything to add, hun?
I don't know.
Okay.
Spacing. I mean,
Spacing, yeah.
one of the things we worry about is blight. We've been told that it's kind of a common thing for tomatoes, and bottom watering them was one of our techniques to avoid getting the leaves wet, which does increase your chance of getting blight. And also, I know ours looks really crowded. If you have the space to spread them apart a bit better and promote better airflow around the plants, they'll dry faster and like decrease your chances of blight. So that's
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
we're not able to do with the amount of plants we managed to start, and we decided not to give them away. But we haven't had issues with that yet, so
No,
we'll see.
we've been pretty good. Like we've been making sure we like prune off the bottom leaves, and that helps, I think, with blight and potential for blight. So as long as your leaves aren't like touching the ground, you're pretty good. And I mean, that's the next point we want to talk about is pruning.
Ooh, you're right.
Exactly. So we wanted to talk about pruning. So there's two different types of tomatoes that you can get, and I kind of mentioned it at the start, where there's indeterminate and determinate. And so the determinate ones, they don't have to be pruned. So they're kind of a set and forget. You just don't have to worry about pruning, because the production of the determinate is they all produce at once and then the plant dies back. That's why I guess a lot of farmers plant them, because they get their harvest all at once and then they can bring them to the farmer's market or sell them to grocery stores. So a lot of determinate types are very popular for that reason.
So why wouldn't you prune them?
Because you
just don't need to?
Well, so like you want the most production. Like a lot of people,
right.
So you want the most production, and so what happens is there's the little suckers is normally what you would prune, and so the suckers, they're like new tomato plants. So normally on like an indeterminate, you'd take off the little suckers. I'll show you guys what the little suckers look like. So we've got right down here, you see the main stem. It's coming up here, right? Where are you? So this is the main stem here, and we've got some tomatoes on it. It's
And you can tell
coming up. Yeah, it's coming up from this bottom part here. It's going up, but you can also see how it's split itself off in other ways. So these are actually another tomato plant. So these ones are called the suckers, and they'll start produce, like you'll know that they're a sucker because they'll produce fruit as well. So this whole one here, we don't have them staked up very well, but yeah, so this whole one here, it's going to produce tomatoes as well. And that's why you don't want to prune them on a determinate, because you just kind of want them to all grow and get big, and then they just produce all of the tomatoes. Like we'll be able to harvest these all at the same time and then can them all for the winter. So it's really helpful if you're doing like any sort of canning or preserving, because then you can just harvest them all when they're like really, really fresh and do like one big batch of canning. So that's what we really like to do. But then there's so there's these type of tomatoes, which are the indeterminate. These are the Roma ones. I've got a few red ones over here. Let me show you guys. Oh, look at those. Those are pretty. So, trying to get them in focus. Okay. So we've got these ones, which are the Roma, indeterminate. And with the indeterminate, it's really important to trim off those suckers, because these ones are going to produce all season. It's also easier to manage them when they're in what it's called one single lead. So we've got them on one single lead, and you can kind of see down there, that's the main stem. We've trimmed off all like those other stems that started to come out. So we've trimmed them all off. You can actually see a sucker. So no, that's a sucker. That's actually kind of a strange occurrence. We have a sucker growing off one of the fruiting branches, but this is another sucker. So like they're not supposed to be like growing like this. That's kind of an anomaly. But normally the suckers, you'll find them in like this little crotch section between the main and the leaves. So there's the leaf of the main stem, and then there'll be another little, I'm trying to get this in focus so you guys can see it better. So there'll be another one that'll grow out here. I've already trimmed this one off, but it will grow out there, and it will turn into another tomato plant essentially. And normally what we do with the suckers, when they're a decent size, we'll come into the green we can come into the greenhouse and I can show you this. It's really cool. So what you can do, so this, let's get one that'll come out. There, okay. We'll grab this guy. So this is actually a sucker from all of our plants. And what we do is you can just plant them in and they'll turn into a new plant, because that's essentially what a sucker is a brand new plant in itself. And the reason why you want to take these suckers off the main plant is because your energy is going up the main stem, but if it's also having to go to a new plant on a sucker, that's a whole new plant that your one kind of base is having to feed and to nourish, and that is it's not something that you want. It's going to be a lot more productive, these indeterminate types, if you prune them. I guess we could take you guys out front too before it gets too hot.
Is there any benefit? Yeah, I guess we could show them
we didn't show you guys these. We forgot. Okay, so we've also got these ones, which I would consider them a determinate tomato. They're kind of their own little variety in itself, but they do produce tomatoes the same way that like a determinate would. So it's going to produce flowers. So we've got these little flowers here.
You have a little ball on somewhere.
Oh, is there? Oh, pretty. Okay, we'll show you guys this. So, oh, awesome. Okay, so they'll flower, and then this little guy here is the little ball that is kind of like the flower kind of growing on top of it. And what it'll do is the tomatillo will grow inside that casing, and then when the casing goes brown, that's when the tomatillo is ready to be picked. And so these ones are kind of like I said, like the determinant, where these will all be harvestable at the same time. And then what we'll do is we'll just pick them all, and then it's done for the season. So it's really handy, like I said, for canning or doing any sort of preserving with your vegetables. That's why we really like growing these. And then the determinate tomatoes, the Romas, are kind of just a nice little snack throughout the season.
Should we bring them to the front yard? Like structures, we have stakes,
yeah,
and cages. I guess there is a benefit to going to the front yard.
Cages.
Because of we have a different system up front.
Yeah, we have, I guess, what is it called? There's a name to the system, but we saw it online, and it's kind of a neat design where there's kind of two stakes, and then you tie string in between, and you kind of like weave it in. We'll go show you, so then you can see it in person. The sun. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we were hoping we wouldn't catch the sun. That's why we came out so early. So then, okay. I guess it's not too bad from this way. So we're here in our front garden. We've got our little trellises, and this is for the deer, so the deer don't eat all of our vegetables. They're really bad around here.
We lost 2 or 3 tomato plants when they were really young. They just bit the top off.
They just bit the top off, and I was like, nope, we're getting deer fencing.
Well, that just killed the whole trying to do.
Yeah, okay.
We have deer issues. Maybe we'll have another video for that.
Yeah, maybe we'll have some deer issue videos. Okay, so you want to come down here? We can...
Nope, I don't.
We can chill with our tomato plants. These ones are... Face this way. Face this way, my love. Okay, so we're in front of the Roma tomato plants, like the indeterminate ones we talked about, and we could show, I guess, the structure then. I'll turn this around so I can show you the structure like more close up and explain everything. So I'll show you from over here. We've got this little system, so this is where all the tomatoes are. Arvin can maybe point it out while I'm talking over here. So we've got like one little rebar, and we've put it in the ground with a little bit of concrete, and we did the same on the other side over there. That side, yes, exactly. And then what we've taken is just a rope, a string. We've kind of attached it in different areas. We've weaved it through a few of them. Some of them are just like straight across. And so as they grow, we're going to add more strings kind of to each little layer here to support them. And my little model over there, it's so hard to see because it's starting to get sunny now, but you get the point of it. This is a great way if you don't want to like buy a ton of tomato cages, because it can get really costly to buy a ton of tomato cages. And I mean, just buying a few things of rebar and some string is a lot cheaper if you're doing a lot of tomatoes. And so that's why we decided to do that out front. And it kind of goes like, we've got like these little structures here. It just goes with the whole design anyway. So, which one? Off topic. Yes.
Focus on,
so,
you could have some more up close ones, like
yeah.
How you could pinch them together to bring them in.
Yeah, so we pinch them. You can either like weave them in and out, but the easiest thing to do is just put it around and then get a little other piece of string and you can pinch them. It's kind of hard to see because the sun is like so bright. This one. Yeah, there's this one.
And then for comparison, a loosey-goosey one that we just installed, that if we pinched it together, it would bring them to the center and they would grow upright.
Exactly. So that's kind of what we do is as they grow up, we'll pinch these together and we'll bring them closer, and they'll be a lot happier if we can get them together. So, I mean, we can show some of the tomatoes that are starting to ripen up. We've got a few at the bottom. We've got a few here at the bottom. Look at these guys. This one's like almost ready to eat. Look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm excited because, so like I said, the Indeterminate, they will slowly grow up, and then all of these will become harvestable throughout the season. So you'll have a really long crop period where you'll get a little at the bottom, and then the next ones will become available, and then you'll go up here more, and you can already see there's another batch of them starting there. And then we've got another batch starting that are a little bit later. So you kind of just get, I mean, if you grow a lot of them, you can get a bunch at a time all throughout the season. And that's really nice, but you don't really have to can them or anything. You can just eat them right away. They're great for fresh salads because they're nice and small. We wanted to talk about companion plants too. What? A dead asparagus. Oh, okay. Well, that's off topic. So I guess asparagus isn't off topic though. This is our first year trying to like companion plant with tomatoes, and we're going to plant some asparagus in, and these ones here are supposed to be really good to repel tomato beetles or something? We read a few things online saying that it might help, so I will put maybe a list of different things that are great with tomatoes on the screen. But like parsley, basil, any sort of herbs that are like very scented are great. So that's kind of, I don't know, what do we say? That's the end of the video. Yeah, like, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, like, let us know in the comments. We're happy to answer anything. Our Instagram page is the most active, so you can check us out there and follow along my Instagram. It's both of ours. We both have a little bit of a part in it, but mostly just things about gardening, tips, tricks. We've got some like recipes on there and some links to our other socials and stuff. So that's one place that is good to check out if you have any questions. Yeah, we'll work on getting more videos like this out, because this is definitely some content that we enjoy making, and we want to share our knowledge that we've learned over the years. Okay.
We could do that take 2 if we need it.
I don't know. I don't think we need it. We'll just add our quirky selves into it. It'll be fine.
All right.
It'll be fine. Okay, see ya.